The smell hit me first. Sweet maple syrup mixed with motor oil drifting through my truck's vents like a warning I should have heeded. I'd been driving Interstate 40 through Tennessee for 12 hours straight, hauling refrigerated produce to Memphis when my GPS suddenly rerouted me onto State Route 127. The voice had been different somehow, flatter, more mechanical than usual. "Take the next right in 500 feet, it announced, though I could swear the screen showed a straight highway ahead. I never take detours. 23 years of long-haul trucking taught me that the main roads exist for a reason. But my deadline was tight, and if the GPS promised to shave off 30 minutes, I'd listen. The exit ramp curved down into darkness so complete that my headlights seemed to die just 20 feet ahead, swallowed by something thicker than night. The road was wrong from the start. Not just narrow or poorly maintained, but fundamentally wrong. My truck's weight should have made those ancient asphalt strips groan and crack, but they absorbed the 40-ton load with absolute silence. No engine echo bouncing off trees, no tire hum, just the synthetic whisper of air conditioning and my own increasingly shallow breathing. Mile markers appeared every few hundred yards, but they counted backward. 127, 126, 125. When I tried to radio dispatch, static filled the cab with a sound like fingernails scraping ceramic. I switched off the radio, but the static continued, emanating from somewhere behind the dashboard. The first house appeared at mile marker 89. A perfect 1950s ranch home with yellow siding and white shutters, every window glowing warm against the darkness. A woman in a floral dress stood on the front porch, waving. Her smile was too wide, stretching past where human faces should end. As my truck rumbled past, she maintained perfect eye contact, her head rotating to follow me with mechanical precision. I pressed harder on the accelerator. Mile marker 75 brought a gas station. Vintage Texaco pumps stood like sentinels under buzzing fluorescent lights, but the building behind them was wrong. The same ranch house, identical down to the woman on the porch. Same floral dress, same impossible smile. She waved with the exact same motion, her arm moving in a perfect arc that seemed to loop and repeat. My hands were slick on the steering wheel now. The sweet maple smell had grown stronger, mixing with something else. Burnt rubber, ozone, the scent that follows lightning strikes. At mile marker 60, I saw my own truck in the distance. Not similar, identical. Same company logos, same mud flaps, same crooked license plate where I'd backed into a loading dock in Phoenix 2 months ago. It was parked at another gas station, another identical house, another waving woman. My doppelganger truck's driver's side door hung open, interior light creating a rectangle of yellow in the endless dark. I grabbed my CB radio despite the static. Breaker 19, this is westbound Willie. Does anyone copy? The static responded with what sounded almost like voices. Dozens of them, all saying the same thing in unison. Take the next right in 500 feet. Mile marker 45. Another house, another woman. But this time she wasn't alone. Figures stood in the yard. Dozens of them, men in work clothes, women in house dresses, children in school uniforms, all waving in perfect synchronization, all smiling those stretched, impossible smiles. Their eyes followed my truck with predatory focus, heads turning in mechanical unison like a field of human sunflowers tracking the sun. My CB crackled to life without me touching it. My own voice filled the cab. Breaker 19, this is westbound Willie. Does anyone copy? The transmission repeated, exactly as I'd said it moments before. Then another voice, another trucker. 10-4, Willie, this is Big Dog. You sound spooked, buddy. I remembered that conversation 3 years ago outside Barstow when I'd gotten lost in a sandstorm. But Big Dog had died in a jackknife accident last winter. I'd gone to his funeral. The mile markers were counting down faster now. 30, 25, 20. Each number brought another house, another crowd, more familiar voices on the radio, dead truckers, retired drivers, men who disappeared on long hauls and were never found, all talking, laughing, sharing road stories like they were still alive, still driving, still trapped on highways that led nowhere. Mile marker 10. The road began to curve, not gradually, but in sharp, impossible angles that defied physics. My truck should have rolled, should have skidded, but it held the turns as if gravity had forgotten how to work. The darkness beyond my headlights wasn't empty anymore. It moved, shifted, breathed. At mile marker 1, I saw the end of the road. Not a junction or an intersection, but simply nothing. The asphalt terminated in a void so complete it hurt to look at. My truck was slowing despite my foot pressed to the floor. The engine coughed, wheezed, died. Silence. Then footsteps on gravel, approaching from behind. I turned in my seat and saw myself walking toward the truck. Same company shirt, same coffee stains, same 3-day stubble. But his eyes were glass marbles, reflecting my headlights like a nocturnal animal's. He smiled that impossible smile and spoke in my own voice. Take the next right in 500 feet. The passenger door opened with a rusty screech I'd never heard before. The other me climbed in, settling into the seat with movements too fluid, too practiced. He reached over and turned the key. The engine roared to life. GPS says we can shave 30 minutes off the route, he said, and I realized I was no longer holding the steering wheel. My hands rested in my lap, motionless, numb. The truck was moving again, but I wasn't driving. We passed mile marker 127. The road stretched ahead, identical houses blurring past in an endless loop. The woman in the floral dress waved from every porch, her smile growing wider with each repetition. I tried to speak, to scream, but my voice came from the CB radio instead. Breaker 19, this is westbound Willie. Does anyone copy? Another voice responded, confused and frightened. 10-4, Willie. You sound spooked, buddy. I knew that voice. It was mine, from 3 years ago, before I learned about the Backroads protocol, before I became another warning that no one would heed. If you enjoyed this journey into the endless night, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the highways that shouldn't exist. Drop a comment and tell me about your own strange encounters on America's forgotten roads. And in our next story, you'll discover what happens when your rearview mirror starts showing places you've never been, but somehow remember visiting. Trust me, you won't want to miss that ride.